to Season 5, the Facebook series, episode number 2. So today I have two very special ladies. I have Kenyatta Scott, who is a celibacy advocate, children's book author, and motivational speaker. And I have Tilita Lutterloh, who is a strength and conditioning specialist, nutritionist coach, and a track and field athlete. So welcome. I want you guys to first, introduce yourself, let everybody know not only what it is that you do, but how we can get in contact with you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you first and foremost, Danielle, for having me.
You're welcome.
It is such a blessing and honor and opportunity to be here and just share my story. So how people can get in touch with me is by way of, we'll talk about Facebook, since this is the Facebook series. So I'm Kenyatta Scott on Facebook. And then the children's book series is called the Violet Book Series. Mm-hmm. And so she has a Facebook as well as Instagram. And then just to keep it consistent across the board, my Instagram and LinkedIn is also Kenyatta Scott _ And then people are also able to get a hold of me by way of email. I would say Kenyatta Scott, that's KENYATTA SCOTT at letstalkincorporated.net. I know that's a mouthful and it's all spelled out. So that's the way that people are able to get a hold of me, though.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you also, Danielle, for having me on your podcast. My name is Tilita Lutterloh. I am a strength and conditioning specialist, as Danielle said, as well as a nutrition coach. I'm also a competitive track and field athlete. So all of that is definitely a full-time job with all of that. I am on Instagram as I am Tilita, and my name is Tilita, as well as Facebook, that is Tilitafied. And you can also email me if you'd like with any questions or anything like that. Tilitafied@gmail.com.
Awesome. So the podcast that I have is we have a lot of listeners that are either business owners, aspiring, or people that have like a side hustle. So we are always giving gems about different industries and things like that. So some questions that I have is, when it comes to making posts, who struggles with them? How do you come up with them? And do you struggle with being transparent? For me, when I first started, I definitely was a fan of Hootsuite and scheduling my posts, but as I've become more seasoned, understand that, those motivational quotes will only get you so far. People want to know the real. They want to get something from it. So my rule of thumb is I don't share what I'm going through, because if I'm, already low, I don't need a troll to take me under. But once I've passed that, I don't mind sharing certain things. And for me, I don't really show men. I may show flowers or something, kind of whatever, until I'm 100% sure that this is going to be my man. But I'm not going to act like there's a way to be transparent without giving all of your business. So I think there's an art in that. And so for me, I'm really open to giving success stories or talking about difficult clients or bad days or all types of things without, giving the love and hip hop version of your dirty laundry. So what are your thoughts on that, and kind of what do you guys do?
That is definitely a great question, and everything you said, I can definitely see in many of my friends, some of my former colleagues. But it's interesting because on one hand, I don't think that I struggle with transparency, because I also am in real life, in person, but also in my posts, I just like to share what I am doing, what interests me. Yes, I like to post what interests others too, but it's rare that I have major filters and things like that. It's kind of what you see is what you get with me. And perhaps that's why I don't have a large following yet. I don't know. But I agree with you that, yes, there's a balance between showing the real, but not getting all up in your business. I'll give you an example for, as a person in the strength and fitness and wellness industry, especially a woman, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of accounts, obviously, in the fitness world. Mm-hmm. And with women, men too, but it seems like the larger following accounts, you have to show every ounce of your body.
Yeah.
Like you're half naked, and that is just not me, and that will never be me. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 posts that I might be in tights or, in a sports bra, but for me, that's functional. It's not, I want you to see this so that you will follow me, so that you'll do what I do, that kind of thing. And I think that can be problematic for women, but I definitely recognize that probably is part of the reason that I haven't gained a large following just yet, because of everyone's preconceived notions of what a female athlete or a female person in the fitness industry should be posting or should look like.
No, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, because I always am like, you know what, let me just post a thong picture, get the likes, and then delete it. And then I'm like, no, that's off brand. That's not you. But I mean, I feel like that's cracking the code. That's what a lot of people do because it works. And, once you get those likes, a lot of things can happen. And, it's not just a game anymore. So I definitely have my days where I'm like, this is hard.
Right. Yes, definitely.
And and it's true. A lot of people, if you post a naked picture, you don't even have to have a caption. You can have, work spelled with the E.
Right.
And that's it. And I think a lot of people do struggle with that. That's something I'm glad that you brought it up, because I'm thinking as you're talking, and I don't really know of any fitness person that doesn't show bikini posts and things like that. I don't even know any quote unquote Christian branded fitness women. I don't know that. I'm going through, I know Christian women that kind of brand themselves as being that, or Christian business women that work out, and they may show some workout posts, but I don't really know anyone that is very biblical plus, because I think that it is a hard medium. So yes, I'm gonna look for that.
I have 2 different brands. One is the Violet book series, under which I'm the children's book author, and then the second is as a celibacy advocate under the Sprinkle of Love. So with the Violet book series, which is literally my heart, I never have a problem with those posts because they're always uplifting, inspiring.
Yeah.
I can never go wrong whenever I'm talking about the love I have for our community, the love I have for our children, and just talking about just the programming, how it's needed in our neighborhoods, these positive images of little black and brown boys and girls, and self-esteem. So those are easy. And partly, I would say the reason why those are as easy also is because it is in direct alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And so that part is really easy. Now, of course, when it comes to the celibacy and the Sprinkle of Love brand, I do have to think about, one, protecting other people's stories. Because for instance, with dating and wanting also to protect that other person and not really sharing and divulging too much information from maybe a personal experience that I really encountered with somebody, so that people then are not afraid to actually be able to be their whole selves around you. So that's one thing.
Right. You don't want to get Taylor Swift. She writes a song about every man she's been with.
This I did not know. And no, I don't want to do that. However, when you are growing and you're growing your brand and you're continuing to grow as a person, and then when I'm pulling in celibacy and giving advice and inspiring both men and women and encouraging them in a way that is completely different and outside the box, and I'm talking about how celibacy is linked to purpose, how celibacy is linked to one's own version of self-care, then you do have to share and open up more about yourselves, because people really want to know. People really want to know, honestly, how are you able to do this? How are you able to have your mind be stronger than your flesh? And what does that really look like on a day-to-day basis for you? People want to be able to know and see, if this person can do it, I can do it as well, and be able to feel like they can ask questions. I get so many inbox and DMs, private questions about celibacy and self-esteem, and people sharing real self-esteem stories like adults, because there is still that stigma around it. So in order to, and let me just put this out here, this is not something I ever intended to go public with. My calling to be celibate for this period of time in my life until I get married. So I never intended to be public with it. However, once first kids started coming and then adults, the need was there. And so it's like, who am I then to sit down and say like, no, I won't meet the needs of people by way of inspiring, sharing my testimony, and then also being able to give back in that way. So there is a fine line, though. I will say that there have been some posts that I have gone back through and like deleted. And thinking about perhaps how somebody else maybe could have viewed it or taken it, depending on where you are that day. Like, okay, is this as inspiring as it could be? Is this getting the right message across? Is this ostracizing some people?
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a huge social responsibility also to people who have platforms, where we have to be aware, highly aware of what we're putting out there into the universe. Absolutely.
I agree.
But I will sit here and say that even though, yes, I am very spiritual, I'm a God's girl, I'm also a turn up girl. Yeah. And so we do struggle with that. And it's just like, okay, this was a fun weekend. Can I put up that one? And it's nope.
Yeah. See, for me, I'm more like, I'm not going to not be my authentic self, which is why I have another Instagram, Danielle Mitchell, because like Danny So Fancy is my personal, because I feel like I don't want to not share special moments, whether it be a friend's 30th birthday or like when I get engaged, like it's gonna be a lot of ring shots and I don't want it to be off brand. So I just was like, I need something for me, so I'm having that for me. So I think that it is a balance for me. My main focus is don't be problematic. It's sometimes, people want to be shady, people want to roast or say things that may be a joke that could be taken to a different way, and I'm a firm believer that people shouldn't say problematic things on public forums. You can't stop people from what they're saying behind closed doors, but I think that we all have that responsibility, especially like my main tick is like Black people talking about other Black people, whether it be a subgroup, you talking about tribes, you just talking about women. We need to get past that as a whole. So that's like my happy medium.
I'll even say to piggyback off that when you do have a platform, you do have to be careful about touching on controversial topics such as like politics and giving your feedback on like the latest controversy and things like that. You do have to be like very careful of the way in which you approach things, just because you never know who's honestly being inspired, motivated by something you say. Now, granted, if there are things that's like really, it's like on your heart and soul to say and do, like by all means, you might need to like say something really quickly. But when you said you have like different, like the Instagram, man, that's where it gets to be like so complicated. You have all these different platforms to post on. And I will say I do a little bit more, giving myself a little bit more freedom on Facebook to like talk about the birthday party that I was at and things like that.
The timeline, it get lost. I'm looking at something, I move for a second, it refreshed itself. It's like, wait, I wasn't done. And I can't, I can't remember. So I think. And
I have to do an authentic post. I can't do the Hootsuite. I tried it, the scheduling, but it just, I have to do what I'm feeling in that moment. So, and that's okay. I do it early in the morning. So
I think that's one thing that I've done now too. It's not how many, it's more authentic, because I'm all about engagement. So I will make an authentic post automatically share from Instagram to Facebook, call it a day. And people are more into that. But I think when you are first starting out, if you haven't found your voice yet, definitely do it. Something is better than nothing, because if people don't know, with all these platforms, they're now changing it where they reward who is consistent. So if you're not consistent, they'll push you at the bottom. So it's not a game. Do something. Don't leave for a month. And people be going on these social media fasts. I'm like, are you sure that's what you want to do? Or can you just hoot-sweet that thing for a month and then come back? Like, you don't really have to leave. And you may not want to. It might do more harm than good. So I think that will end on that, where just find your happy medium. There's no right or wrong answer. Do what's comfortable to you, but remember what your brand is. And so I always say people should know what their mission, vision, and core values are. That ultimately goes to your why.
Yes.
Once you know your why, you'll know when it's okay, when it's not, when you should delete a shady post, when it can stay, and ultimately what platforms, partnerships, opportunities you want to say yes to, and more importantly, which ones you want to say no to.
Definitely.
So do you guys have a strategy for engaging with people? Is there like a weekly strategy that you guys have? Can you guys kind of run us through what your consistent part of your weeks are?
So I will say that I just noticed that I get more engagement if there are pictures and photos of me on the post. So
I want to see your pretty face.
In the beginning, though, and I remember you and I talked about it a long time ago, because how you saying I was putting up like the inspirational quotes, and that wasn't directly getting me what I was seeking for, like looking for, right? It wasn't getting me what I was looking to obtain. But what I did notice was, okay, like, I'll just put up, like how you said, just a picture of yourself, talking about WERK, fully dressed. And it would get, lots of likes. And I'm like, what gives? So I had to find the happy medium between, okay, like if I'm at an event, I might take a picture of me and then still posting about what I was doing, what the event was about, so that people are able, in a sense, to get the best of both worlds. And then I noticed that on certain days, I'll tend to get like more engagement.
What days work for you?
Sunday, surprisingly. Sunday
is
a good day.
Everybody's getting together.
Sunday morning.
If you post Sunday night, Monday morning, everybody's seeing your stuff.
Isn't that so funny?
I myself am definitely still learning, all of what works best and stuff. But I have noted, one strategy I had for a while that actually worked really well, so I just have to make sure I'm consistent with it, but was to post 3 times a day. So 1 in the morning, 1 in midday, and 1 in the evening. And that's, at first it seemed like, 3 times a day, that sounds like a lot. But when I just broke it down to, just 1 sometime in the morning, 1 midday, and 1 sometime in the evening, it was fairly easy to do. So I just have to stay consistent with that. And I got a lot more engagement with that. I also have noticed, kind of like what we were speaking about before, the few pictures that I do have where you might see a little bit more of my body is when I get the most comments or likes or something like that, or when I post my videos of my own workouts, whether it be at the track or in the weight room, or like I do a whole lot of different things. So it might be some yoga pose that I do, or some running workout at the track, or my weightlifting, things like that. Those get a lot of engagement as well. So just got to make sure I do more of those.
Got it. And so for me, I'm going to kind of give a little bit of an overview of what I do. So for me, I'm really good at days. So for me, one blog post will then work with me through the entire week. So if I have a blog post, that blog post is going to turn into a Facebook Live. That Facebook Live is going to turn into an Instagram Live. That Instagram Live is going to turn into a Facebook post and an Instagram post. And then if it's doing well enough, then that's going to turn into a YouTube video. So I break that down now that I have my topic. Monday is content creation. So writing those blogs, because I do a write-up on Insecure and Ball in the Family as well. So all the content creating is working on that. And then Tuesday, working on any client work that I have going on. And then Wednesday is video content. So that's YouTube, that is the live videos and things like that. And then the rest of the week, I can either figure out if I need to, catch up on any other things if I'm behind, and just make sure that deadlines are met, because by Friday my clients are looking for their work, like what's going on. So that's how I'm able to be consistent, because content can be something different each week. It could be editing a website page, it could be working on new Instagram story videos. It really can be anything, but as long as I have specific time for it, that's perfect. Monday is also my day to research anything. So there's a new tool, app, whatever I want to learn, that is going to Monday. And so that helps me to not only stay on track, but to not get behind, because it's so easy to get behind if you don't know. And I also don't like to waste time on social media looking at other people's stuff and getting envious. So I like to know
right.
what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. You can definitely go down the rabbit hole with the comparison game for sure. I've on social media.
Absolutely. I think that comparison is something that people say is healthy, but I think that it's not as healthy as we allow it. I think that we say it's healthy so we can continue to do it. I think it's great for you to know who your industry experts are, your industry leaders, but you don't need to see everything they're doing every single day. And to know when you need to. Like, there's been some people that I join their newsletters to see like what they're doing and take some tips from them, and then I become too overwhelmed because they're giving too frequently, and I get down on myself for not doing it as frequently, and then I just unsubscribe because it's either unsubscribe or have another feeling every time I'm getting something in their inbox. And you can always resubscribe, but just kind of knowing what your limits are helps me, because for me, for a long time, I was like, okay, I should be doing what this person is doing and that person is doing. But now that I just kind of know my authentic self and I have a strategy, so I know I'm going to be consistent, I feel so much better. You may not see me every day on every platform, but my pictures that you will see me in, they're just getting more engagement because I've kind of stopped stressing and put more time into it.
Jonathan McReynolds has a song where he talks about comparison kills. And in that, he's saying basically be your own special you. Be your own unique brand of you. I have heard other people saying that they really struggle in that area sometimes, and I think that is around the time where people do talk about that they're taking a fast from social media and things like that because it's getting to them too much, and that is very true. I consider myself blessed in the area that I can say that I have not experienced that. What I will say is that I always feel like I'm my greatest competition. And so literally I'll say, okay, like we accomplished this yesterday. Now, how can we top this? Or how can we continue to go higher? Like me, the brand, like what can I do? And so by staying very focused on honestly like God's vision for like my brands and my life, that's really helped me, because I literally know that I can only do as much as I can do with what I've been given at that current time and season. And let's say I do see somebody else doing X, Y, and Z. I know that I'm still right where I'm supposed to be in my lane. And if that's supposed to happen for me in due time, like it will, but let me continue to keep working out this one area, because sometimes I can't get to that step until I go through this first. And so like literally it's like, for me to continue to move forward on my own. So how they say like, I just keep my eyes on my own paper, money, keep my eyes on the test and just stay focused. But like literally, I mean, because at the end of the day, we are our biggest competition anyway. We literally have to get ourselves out of our own way. So it's not even honestly what other people aren't doing, what we're doing to ourselves, and how we continue to motivate ourselves and push ourselves forward. So I think everyone's where they're supposed to be. Real talk. I mean, we could probably all be doing better. Like, but I mean, if we were pushing ourselves,
Yeah.
like really pushing ourselves, not to obtain what the next person has, but pushing ourselves to do the most with what we've been gifted and given.
Right. And I think for the people that are having issues with the comparison, I know that one of the things that I learned is that when you start feeling that way, it's just time for you to hire someone. Like
For social media management.
or whatever,
Yes.
whatever that is in your business or your life. If you're not really social media.
Or you talking about a counselor?
I'm talking about like an assistant. Maybe you need somebody to do some emails. Maybe you need somebody to be your publicist. Maybe you just need somebody to take over some of the load. Maybe you need a contractor. And it doesn't have to be that expensive. I know that's. Some interns will do it for free. Some interns will do it for $40 a week. Like, you can really figure out and find somebody within your budget, whatever that looks like. I know I did Task Bullet and got 200 hours or something like that, 20 hours for $200, and had them just helping me to create some graphics to get ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways of when you are feeling like too overwhelmed, because people always say we have the same 24 hours as Beyonce, but Beyonce got a team. So no, Beyonce got 24 times 28.
Girl, the same
You
thing.
got 24 times
yes.
1.
You have to source out. You have to know what's your strong suit,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
And in what areas you need to
And
bring in
raise
the
them
reinforces.
prices.
Like, real talk. Because yes, I am not the tech savvy person, and the same amount of time like that it takes my web designer to maybe create like a PowerPoint or something like that for me would take me like 5 more hours on top of however long it took her. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So what is the most difficult thing you guys have dealt with in the last 3 months pertaining to your business?
Oof. That's a deeply felt one. The decision that I recently made is probably the most difficult thing I've had to do thus far. Because I am both a fitness professional as well as a competitive athlete with a very ambitious goal, I've noticed for the past 15 years or so that me having full-time work absolutely compromises my ability to do all the things that I need to do as an athlete to reach my goal. And just recently I had to decide, I was with a company, a well-known high-end gym for 12 years, and I left there and helped a friend open his own gym. And then after I left his gym, now I'm on my own, attempting to build my own brand. And I was going to do in-home trainings, but I was going all over the city, like driving everywhere. And that is not a very efficient, and at the end of the day, not very productive or lucrative way to do business. And so I just recently decided I'm not going to do in-home training anymore. I'm not driving around the city anymore. And I have everyone, if you still want to work with me, you have to come to one location. And I'm moving more into the online space, and I do more online workshops, and I have online clients as well, so that I can obviously work from anywhere. But that was a really hard decision. And the decision was because my Olympic dream has been my dream ever since I was 7 years old. And to constantly recognize that it's being compromised because my energy, physical energy and, mental energy is going to all of these other things because I have to work. Obviously, I'm not a sponsored athlete. It was driving me crazy, and it was just, and I'm not getting younger either. So I was like, okay, you need to make a decision, and you have to do it for your own well-being and for your goals and your values. That is how I live my life. That is how I coach my clients to lead their lives, rooted in your values, always led by your goals. And so, now it feels like I'm working back, from the bottom up now that I've made that decision. But I ultimately feel better, that I have made that decision, and it will be very rewarding when I come out on the other side and, reach my goals.
I agree. I know that I actually in January went through like some restructuring where I went from wanting to be a Target to wanting to be a more niche market, wanting to be a Prada versus a Target, where I offer less things, but I offer more quality things, and I raise my prices. And that's just what I needed to do to, in order to, one, not burn myself out, and two, like, my goal is no longer to save the world. At this point, my goal is to affect 20 people per year through my membership program, have some other maybe 5 or 6 clients per that I'm working with on a 5-month program to kind of give them more in-depth. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do with this part. Now, everything else can just grow. The bigger our brand gets, the more sponsors and things like that. As this podcast grows, more ads and things like that. But as far as trying to just be everywhere for everything, that is not my goal. And when I stopped trying to do that, things just kind of got a lot easier. So I'll be interested to see where you're at, in 6 months from here. And all of the great things you'll be saying, because that's the great thing about business. You need to know what's working for you and what's not. And when it's not working for you, like, adjust. And if you don't know, survey your audience. I survey mine all the time. Do y'all even want this from me?
Right.
I think y'all do, but I'm not sure.
That's a good point too. And I just recently did that, put a survey out to people. And I don't know why, because on one hand, I'm not a person who is afraid to ask for help, but for some reason that asking for help in that way seemed like, oh no, you're supposed to have your stuff together first before you ask other people their opinion. I don't, it was weird, but I got over that and finally, put out a little survey and asked, what athletes were looking for or what they were missing in their, current regimen, what they felt like was a limiting factor in reaching their goals. Would they join an online cohort of other athletes for a nutrition program, things like that, because that's one of the things I offer. So like you said, I had to ask, oh wait, do people even want this? Let me see before I put all this time and effort and energy into it.
Yes, I think that's great.
Oh, with the Violet book series, I will say that kind of moves on its own. Like, I do have to do work for it, absolutely, and plan things out and carry it out. But I really believe that I am able to be a little bit more hands off as far as like calm about the place and position where the book is at or the series is at that current moment in time. So 2 things for Violet stands out. Like, one was being a sponsor at the Taste of Chicago with Chicago Parent Magazine this summer. Like, that was an awesome experience to be able to have the book in that area and realm when it hasn't even been out for a full year yet. So that was an amazing experience. And on the flip side of that, what I had to do was actually learn how to pitch for the business. And that was terrifying to me. And I think people will perceive you a certain way when you have a certain platform, right? When you have any sort of like real platform where you're out there, and especially as a motivational speaker, people just assume that you don't get afraid.
Right.
Or that
you always have your stuff together.
Yeah, right. That the comfort zone is always there for you and that fear is not there. But the idea of like putting myself out there, learning something, standing before a room full of people I did not know, like all of that was very daunting for me. But I knew that it was something that I had to do in order to move the business forward. So that's where I'll talk again about I'm like, I can't worry about what other people are doing. I'm too busy like worrying and trying to handle what I have going on. Like my hands are full with what I have going on. But I was able to overcome that and accomplish what I needed to do in that area. So that was amazing. Then really quickly with the sprinkle of love. So I did have a struggle with that in the past 3 months where I was having conversations about my personal life versus my professional life. and having real desires and needs and wants as a woman. And I'm not talking about physically, since I mentioned celibacy.
But like support and stuff.
Yeah, or like wanting companionship and that sort of thing. But at the same time, you represent this for people, right? So definitely I am authentic on camera and behind the camera. Absolutely. But there was a real struggle with, okay, I know that this is something that I am called to do. I know that this is something that I'm doing for people. But at the same time, what about me? You know?
Where's that balance?
Where's that balance? Right. And then how much of me, in a sense, that I feel like, okay, real talk. God, how much of me do I have to sacrifice? I know you said present yourself as a living sacrifice, but how much? How much more? How much more? Because, you know, there's still me at the end of the day that like maybe wants this or wants that. But honestly, I know that maybe for right now, I might have to not lay down with anybody, but like maybe, you know, compromise some things. But I know what you called me to do. So it was a real like struggle, like for real, within the last 3 months. And I'm just putting it out there, you know, being 100% transparent right here. Yeah. I didn't do it maybe on a post, but I did it right here. So, you know, you guys, so people tune in. Right. Tune in to Average Black Girl. You'll be able to get some, exposés or the exclusive, the exclusive. So the struggle is real sometimes, especially when being celibate, but also still desiring a family, children, helpmate, all of that stuff. So I struggle with it, and I honestly came full circle back to the same answer, which is you right where you supposed to be. Yeah. Hold fast, stand still, and you know, like what is meant for you is meant for you, and you won't have to, you know, feel like you have to choose between one or the other.
Right. That reminds me of something a friend of my king said to him. He said to him, you know, I love what Tilita's doing, what she's been posting and what she's about. But, you know, she's going to have to throw her integrity out the window if she really wants to be successful. You know that, right? And I was like, wow. I mean, yes, we see that all the time. But for someone to literally say that to him, I like, you know, that's true, right? It was okay, well, I'm not gonna do that, but okay. Yeah, that just reminded me of that, what Kenyatta just said, that kind of struggle, I'm sure.
There are certain assumptions that come. There are certain assumptions that definitely come with the platform and what you do, and especially like walking by faith, but then also like having a platform and having a business. And Danielle, when you talked about relationships and whatnot, like, because I have to be in some ways like very transparent and showing honestly more of my life. And in general, they do say that about 7% is still about only between 7 and 10% that we, in a sense, show and expose the public to. But even that 7 to 10% feels like a lot for me. So then when it comes to me being like romantically involved with somebody, that's the area that I reserve for myself. However, you can share it with that person. Well, you can. What about that person, the one you're romantically involved with, where you're like, I reserve this specifically for me, and then they might be like, are you just keeping me a secret? So they might, you know, like, so, but not really saying it. So, I mean, people got to speak up and speak their truth, but at the same time, you know, they might see you posting things with other guys, but look, once again, exclusive. If you see me posting myself with a guy, I'm not with that person.
See, for me, I don't mind. I will post, like, if there's a group picture and he just so happens to be in there, it's not a secret, right? Or even it's one-on-one. It's just that I'm not showcasing to the world, like, and putting in your face, aha, this is my man, until I know that that's going to be my husband. But no, I'm not no secret. If you're at a wedding, I'm taking a picture. Like, I'm not going to not post the picture of the bride and the groom because you in it. Like, that's crazy.
So, see, but I can't because of my platform again. Like, by being like a celibacy like coach and advocate, they can't see me with this dude like 3 months ago and be like, oh, we booed up, da 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 da, and then another 3 months after that, like this the one, girl.
But that's a part of dating, you know. I think that dating while celibate is. I think that more people need to do it, because only people that talk about it are people that are about to get married, or like, you know, they came, either people that are about to get married or that quote unquote did it. And
you're like, tell us the real. Tell us about the dating part.
Yeah, people don't ever touch on that. Like, what happened? We just didn't have sex, but we got real close. Okay, is that head? Like, what does that mean?
Right.
Put the kids to bed.
What is close? And then it was like, well, we started off group dating, but that's not feasible in real life. I'm not finna call my girlfriend every time I want to see my man. Like, that's just not feasible. So how do you do it in real life? Show me an example of things that is not, you know, Dave and Buster's, that we can actually talk and I can know if I want to be with this man. Because, you know, that's what they tell. And I'm just like, this is not real life. And like, if I just got my hair done, I'm not running with you outside. You know, like, in the rain. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's Chicago. Like, where we gonna go? We not just finna just be doing picnics every day. Like, what about when it's cold outside and you are adults and you have to do something where there's not 6-year-old kids running around? Like, where does that look like? And people don't really talk about it. They just like, oh, it's hard. Or he slept in another room when I would visit from out of town. Great. But what did y'all actually do for dates? Right. And how did you guys talk about boundaries? And
so is this a whole nother show?
I'm just saying.
I mean, I can come back on and like really like we can delve in.
We may need to dive in.
I can tell you all about it.
But I'm just saying, it'd be nice to see like a pretty girl actually can go on dates and live her life without feeling like it's so. I feel like for me, like, I don't do it because I don't showcase, but I don't hide, right? So I just don't showcase because don't want to have to explain why such and such broke up. I think that's like the worst thing that people do. I watch the breakup videos all the time on YouTube, and I just don't ever want that to be my life.
That's in your free time, girl.
I love it. But so for me, I want to avoid that. However, I am very interested in seeing godly couples actually go from like, I'm feeling her, she feeling me, to like we're about to get married. And I feel like just like sex, it's such like a taboo like story, and it's just not reality for people to go from I don't know this man to he's the one.
Yeah,
but other
people probably will be like looking when I'm like, here's the ring, and they're like, where did he come from?
And that's how I plan people to like, oh, this is my man, I'm getting married, the invitations will be in the mail. You know? Yeah, but I'm also not a celibacy coach, but that's just because I know people are nosy and I'm just not ready to have certain conversations. Now, maybe if I find the right man, things will change. I'm just saying, for me, again, this is all about what I'm comfortable with. And then for me personally, I'm rotational dating. So that's like a whole nother thing.
See, I'm coming back.
That's another reason why I don't. But we can definitely, touch on that. But I think I would be interested to see like, okay, this is a pretty girl that.
You want to see who I'm talking to, girl?
I want to see how people do it. Like, even if you don't show like the actual person, but he's like, I went on this date. This is like a quality date where we can get to know each other, have good conversations, and someone over the age of 25 would enjoy the location.
Okay. Right. This is called polling your audience, right? Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
And then also, I mean, off topic, but not really. Like, if you did like a question and answer on Facebook Live from these DMs, I would tune in. I want to know what people are asking and their questions. I'm just saying. Or you can take it over to YouTube. Whatever, do a get ready with me video where you're getting ready for your date.
Okay.
While you are answering these questions about celibacy and self-esteem. I would
that's a good idea.
All right.
I'm just saying, I'm throwing some jewels out here. Okay, so enough about that. Let's get into some popular topics that are happening right now. So, what are your thoughts on Nike? 2 parts. So before we get into the Nike campaign, let's talk about Serena. So for those that don't know, Serena Williams gave birth last year, I believe last year or this year, less than a year ago, she gave birth. And Serena almost died from blood clots of the lungs. And so blood clots are something that she suffered with for a better part of her adult life. So it's nothing new. So when she was having these issues, she was able to actually tell the doctor, I know I'm clotting. These are the symptoms because I've had it before. Help me. And so at first she felt like the nurses and the doctors were kind of just brushing her off, like she was over dramatic. She insisted that they had an MRI, saw that there was clots, were able to fix everything. She's fine. However, she's now partnered with Nike and they made these bodysuit to help with her blood clots. And when she came to play, they actually said that it was not up to par. She needed to respect the code and all this other type of stuff. Now, this happened at the French Open, and I believe that there was a white woman that had a bodysuit, not at that Open, but at some Open, and it was fine. No one said a thing. So what happened afterwards was the next day, Serena being Serena, she worked with, I forgot, Nike and some other really popular fashion designer, and so they had the tutus, and she's also wearing fishnet stockings because, again, she definitely needs something compressive to wear to combat her now heightened condition since having her baby of blood clots. So she's styling with it, but at the end of the day, I feel like not only are we policing women's bodies, they have a bigger issue because it's Serena, because she's a black woman that is dominating. But at the end of the day, when is it, do we respect tradition versus we do what's best for the player and her condition and ultimately her body? What are your thoughts, Tilita?
Well, definitely as an athlete, I can tell you, because I know there's some people out there that also think that it's BS, the whole compressive thing that she's talking about. But I can tell you that is a real thing, and that is why, like, athletic wear, that's a huge billion-dollar industry, and specifically compressive gear. Even if you don't have a blood clotting issue, it is meant to help blood circulation and venous pooling and all these scientific things in an athletic body. So if we are thinking about it in that regard, and what her job is to compete as an athlete, then she needs to do that at the best of her ability. And then on top of that, she also has this medical issue. Then there needs to be, what's the word? There needs to be, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't think at the moment. Exceptions be made, yes. Yeah. For that, past, tradition. And then speaking about tradition, I always want to go back to what is the why? Why does that tradition even exist in the first place? Because I know myself, forever, since I can remember, have always wondered why certain sports such as tennis, field hockey, why you had to wear a skirt as a woman in the first place. This is like, I'm using my body, I'm running around a field, falling, kicking, doing all these things. Why am I in a skirt? I'm not understanding. How is it functional to this sport, to my movement? So I don't know the answer to that and why that is tradition. So I would love to know the why, but I definitely think that needs to go out of the window when it relates to someone's athletic performance, especially under a certain medical condition.
I definitely agree. And so let's continue on that with your thoughts on the Nike campaign. So, what are you thinking as an athlete? What are your thoughts?
Well,
Colin Kaepernick act.
Colin's, yeah. Okay. Because I was going to say hers too. There was one, it's like a little short 30-second thing where there is no doubt of what she is trying to say. But specifically with Colin, I absolutely love it. And for me, that's a big thing because I'm not necessarily a huge Nike fan, but I do love that they are, whether it's because of something they actually believe in or whether it is a marketing thing, because we know Nike has the top, best, most, the greatest marketing team of all time. Whatever their reason is, I'm glad it is out there, and that his ability to not only, get paid and isn't continuing to be compromised as it is in the NFL, since he hasn't been hired, but that such a brand as Nike, who is far-reaching and high-influencing, I'm glad they made that decision to have him as the spokesperson for their 30th anniversary. And I actually had the print ad I had seen, but I just yesterday, I think, saw the full video, and from an athlete, I had tears in my eyes. Like, everything about it, it just resonated really deeply with me, and actually helped reaffirm my goals, and that my goals are not crazy, or actually they might be crazy, like it says, dream crazy.
Right.
But it made me think, well, maybe, like you said, they're not crazy enough. So I need to think bigger, because I have definitely had many people along the years who support me, but many people who look at me like, really, you're trying to go to the Olympics? Well, only like 1 in a million or 1 in whatever people actually make it. Well, okay, why can't I be that 1 in a million? Like, I don't understand someone who downs your dreams like that. And it can definitely weigh on you, especially as I'm getting older. But it certainly resonated deeply with me, and reaffirmed also for myself, but also what I tell my clients, that there is no one way to reach a goal either. So I used to when I was a little younger, look at other athletes who've gotten to where I want to get to. Like, okay, well, I need to be doing it like them. Oh, I need to be training like them, or I need to wear the same shoe they do, or the same shirts, or the same tights, or whatever. But no, I don't. And I don't have to have made it to the nationals by a certain age. I don't have to have, jumped this far distance or run this time by this age. My path can look very different than some other athlete's path. And for me, that shined really, really bright watching that ad, because all types of athletes are making it, under so many worse circumstances than I have. So me having to work full time and train, oh, please, to me, compared to all of those athletes, that's nothing now. Like, yeah, it was definitely motivating for sure.
No, I think Nike is that was marketing done right.
Yes.
I still don't know if they're stop with the slave labor overseas or the prison labor or anything like that. But as far as the marketing, they got that together. I think it was done right. I think that Nike acknowledges that a lot of, or maybe even majority of their customers are Black or people of color or whatever. So again, they knew that their target audience was going to support, was not going to have an issue. Nike has already, I think I was reading, secured like a 20 plus deal with the NFL already, so that's not going anywhere. The deals that they already have in place with all these universities, again, not going anywhere. So when you're at top and you have long-term contracts, you can really push the needle. Another thing, people are like, oh my God, this Colin Kaepernick ad, like if you did any research, you would know that they never dropped him. He's been signed the whole time. So
Right.
he's gonna have his own line now, which is amazing and I think really interesting. And this is how he's able to continue to do stuff every year. He still does stuff for charity, sends his own planes full of food and things like that. He's really amazing on his own route, and we now see that his sponsors and things are a big part of why he's able to do so much that he's able to do. So I think that it's great.
That's a good point.
It's also, I think I'm interested to see how other companies within the athletic wear are either going to make a stand, be silent, or say whatever. I heard that New Balance came out today and said they were siding with Trump, so that's interesting to see. Yeah,
Interesting.
and then I'm not sure if this is like real or not, but I saw an article from US Today that a person like burnt down their house accidentally because they were burning the shoes.
Oh
So
wow.
I can't confirm or deny if that's true, but it's been shared so many times, so it's hard to tell.
Interesting.
But I just think that I think that not only is it a step in the right direction, I think it's just a step in what needs to happen. Every time that there's adversity, then they have people that are on the right and wrong side of history. And I think that it's so good to see companies that people actually buy and support be on the right side of history. I think back to like what we reach and see in like history and everything from like the banks that we use supported slavery to, you know, different people's grandparents were just so racist that they were, you know, a part of Jim Crow and things like that. And every time you hear people, they were just like, well, that's just how things were. That's just how things were. So I'm really excited that we're seeing large corporations that are not on that's just how things were trained and are really making a difference. So I'm really excited for not only this generation, but the next generation to come, because I feel like this is the first time that we've seen like actual real corporations doing stuff on a loud platform. Because I hear like there was, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but people are saying that the owner of Little Caesars like paid Rosa Parks' apartment for like years to come and things, but all these are like under the table. This is like loud and proud, and I don't have to do anything backhanded, and this is what I'm really excited about.
I'm excited about it too. I really, really, really love it, and just what it represents for us, regardless of whatever, like you said, the backstory is. If it's a marketing tactic, I mean, you know, honestly, if they're smart, like, yeah, which they are, you know,
hone in on it.
Yeah, capitalize and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, like, so the saying is, you know, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. And for me, when we were just talking about like, oh, what did you struggle with for the last 3 months? I literally was talking about sacrifice. So when I saw this picture and this post, it just honestly, like Tilita was saying, it reinforced for me that no, you're right where you're supposed to be. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think that this message is just telling everybody to like be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be unapologetically you. Be your unique self. Be your different self. And don't like mind whatever the outside noise like looks like, as long as you're staying true to that inner voice that's telling you like what you're doing is the right thing. Because for Colin, it came from a very pure place, that what he was doing, he sincerely believed in. And we know that it wasn't just, you know, some sort of like ploy or tactic, because he backed it up, you know, consistently. You talk about like just because if you're not authentic, it'll show in your character, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so we don't have to worry about whether or not, you know, like Nike's methods and things like that was like authentic. We don't have to worry about some of these other companies, because it'll start to show. Like how you said, we know about Trump. We know, like it's bleeding all over the pages, you know? And so I think that the fact that here's a genuine brother that actually like stood up for what he believed in and was willing to like take it all the way there. You know, I put up a post today where I was like, so you guys, are we still boycotting like football, or was that like last year's trend? And I was like very, in a sense, like facetious when I was saying that, because like legit, we'll jump on to whatever's the next fastest moving thing. But like, do we really support? And in what way do we show our support? And are we consistent? So here's somebody who has shown what consistency looks like. And so can we do our part by not just being consistent with the things we said we're going to do, but also being authentic? And how much do we believe in our work? What are we willing to sacrifice? That was what I got from it.
Definitely. And what y'all were speaking about earlier about being careful with what you post, like politically. I completely understand businesses who, because I have a couple friends who own their own businesses, and they do not at all comment, post, or mention anything about like different controversies that might be happening in politics or the social environment. However, just like you just said about authenticity, I understand it might not be on brand specifically. However, I do think that people, not everyone is going to like, of course, what you say and post or whatever, but people do gravitate towards a business owner who stands for what they believe in, and uses their platform. You know, you don't have to use it to be an activist or anything if you don't want to, but to, like someone might tell me, ooh, I don't know if you should have posted that because you might lose some followers. Okay, then I guess those aren't the people I care for to follow me then.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah. That was, and obviously Nike, they're not a small business, so they can afford to do that. But even for me or any small business owner to post support of that, might sure affect who follows me or listens to me, but that's okay with me. Because at the end of the day, then I will have the right people around me, following me, supporting me, who I want to vibe with and who, vibe with me.
Absolutely. And I think you have to start small. So it's like if you're not able to be your authentic self when you don't have that huge amount of followings or other followers and just people that are tuning into your voice, if you're not able to be authentic now, for real, like we can't trust you with a bigger platform to be able to be your most authentic self. So this is where the practice comes in. That's what I believe.
Definitely. I agree. If you can't do a lot and be yourself with a little, then you won't be able to do a lot with a lot. And that's why I just love Beyonce, because she never has anything leaked. Lil Mama controls everything that is released, every vision, everything that she donates is just always on par with who she is. So
very strategic and purposeful. So having everything be in alignment, with your purpose, your vision, what you're doing. It's all so important to being an authentic, true, dope business owner.
Awesome. So now I'm going to get into a little bit of a life update. So this will be the last podcast for those that are listening for a little bit. I will be going to Ghana at the end of the month, September 20th. I'll be going from the September 20th to October 5th. And I want to tell you guys just a little bit about that. So I got the invitation from my friend Tilita, who was on the podcast, if you guys remember, not too long ago, and she actually connected me with a guy named Charles that's in Ghana that's having a conference called the African Entrepreneurship Conference. And so at the Africa Entrepreneurship Conference, they have extended their offer to have me come and speak. So I'll be speaking about marketing and branding your business on social media. And this is actually a free trip. It's my first business visa. So while I was there, can I stay for a couple of weeks to explore? And they graciously accepted, and I will be in an apartment and vlogging. So if you aren't following me already, make sure you follow me on Average Black Girl on YouTube. But this all, thank you. So this all happened because of networking. So what happened was, I am a mentor at the Chicago Urban League, and some lady, her name is Quintella NT, she, without even letting me know, put me in the hat to be a mentor for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is a fellowship program put in place by Barack Obama. So it's about 5 years old now, and every summer they bring in a couple thousand African fellows from all over the continent to take some intense courses, business courses, and really get their business up and going with the support that they need. So my partnership school was Northwestern University, and then my mentor was someone that did marketing as well. So I, got the email when I was already accepted. I'm like, what is this? They explained. I said, absolutely. I am a firm believer of, again, when you go to your why, you know that was exactly what you wanted, what I needed to do. I am very into traveling and expanding my network and just really giving everyone that I touch a platform for their business. With Average Black Girl, our original mission is first and foremost to create more Black millionaires through web design, marketing strategies, and securing partnerships. And we also allow guest bloggers on my blog, Average Black Girl. So if you are listening and you're like, I want to be on the podcast, I need exposure, or you need resources, like, we are here for you. So that is one thing. And while I go there, my goal is to get some contacts with some other countries, because I plan to be going a couple places every year. The next part that I want to get into is, we're talking about the Facebook series, so I want to talk about Facebook again. So within your Facebook fan page and your Facebook personal page, I want everyone to think about items that represent your business. So different items can be videos, you can do posts from your Instagram, you can share blogs. Those are the main things that I think people need to be doing. So when I talk about videos need to be short and sweet because of people's time attention span. So it's very little. So start looking at what your favorite is doing, and you'll want some tips, maybe 5 tips for this, 7 tips for that. And don't forget to turn on the subscribing so that people can look at your videos and read the words, because a lot of people are looking on Facebook while they're at work. That's just what it is. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. You want to make sure that you're connecting your page to your Instagram so that when you share, it's just one and done. The next thing you want to do is, I've been playing with the blog post. So before, I would share a blog and I would just share from Facebook to the blog. And although I still do that, where I'm noticing that I'm getting more traffic and more engagement is if I take a header picture from the blog, I put a paragraph, and then I say, the first comment is the link to the blog. And I think that what Facebook is doing is they're promoting more items that are on Facebook. So Facebook is seeing that that's just a picture, and so they're showing and pushing more engagement on that. Versus a blog, that means that they'll be pushing and pursuing you to go off their site. So I don't know if that's a glitch. I'm not sure what's going on, but definitely play with it. I think there's some metrics that are going on, and that may be a change in the algorithm. And we know Facebook is always changing the algorithm. So I'm just letting you guys know what I'm noticing, and I'm getting a lot more traffic when I do that. Again, for Facebook fan page, what you'll want to do if you have any sponsored partnerships is you want to use the handshake tool. So the handshake tool is where you are able to not only tag the brand, but it shows that the brand has paid you to post this. So you won't get in trouble with, the federal trade regulations and things like that. So the handshake tool will be coming out soon within Instagram as well. But right now, if you are under, I believe, 10,000, you don't have to worry about anything. Just within the hashtags, put either ad, Gata free, paid partnership. You'll need to put those things within your hashtags if you're on Instagram, or if you're on Facebook and you haven't used the handshake tool, you'll definitely want to do that. With Facebook fan page, you can also like as your page. So you can like other business pages, and there's a section where they can appear in the sidebar of your page. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's something that you can get with other people that are in your industry, or even just friends that have Facebook fan pages, and say, hey, if I like your page, can you like mine? And that's just another way that you can utilize your network for connecting yourself, because ultimately I look at Facebook like this. For me, I utilize Facebook as a way for people to check me out. Okay, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. You say you're doing all these things. Just go to my Facebook page, because with my Facebook, I have actually started the reviews. So when you pick your Facebook fan page, you can pick a couple of different type of topics. Now, if you want to be a public figure, which a lot of people do, which is perfectly fine, but with a public figure page, you actually cannot receive reviews, but you can eventually get that blue check box, which is why people are becoming public figures. And that's actually why I have another page for Danielle Mitchell, so that whenever I do hit that public figure mark, I'm already ready. But what you want to do if you are a service or product-based business or anything like that, you'll want to utilize reviews, because in the world of social media, there's a lot of scammers out here. So the way to separate yourself from people that are scamming is to get legit reviews. And so I can't tell you guys how many times I have met someone that has gone with me and they said that they weren't quite sure they were between me and someone else, but they looked at the reviews and they felt confident. So when you're doing reviews, I don't want you guys to just get anybody. I want you guys to be strategic with it. So not only can your reviews be people that you worked with previously, right? If you have good follow-up, good customer service, a good attitude, those are transferable skills. Anybody can leave you a review saying that. But I want you to figure out who your target is and make sure that the people that are in your target are also writing that. So for me, I have a lot of younger Black men and Black women leaving reviews. Well, if I want to showcase that I've worked with maybe older white men and white women, then that may be who I'm going to target to leave a review for the next maybe quarter. So that when other people go and check me out and they see, hey, this person looks like me, went to the same kind of school as me, we pretty much have the same demographic. And if they liked working with her, then I'll like working with her. So I enjoy Facebook for that. It's people are going to check you out anyway. Give them something to look at. And so now, before we talked about why you need a Facebook fan page and how it can work, today we're telling you exactly what you want to do, because nobody likes a dead page. So make sure that you are feeding your Facebook fan page at least a little bit. And one tip for everybody is Facebook is really, really rewarding people that are doing Facebook Live. So if you have a Facebook fan page that may not get a lot of attention and traffic, if you just start going live consistently, you will see a great jump. There's so many case studies of different people I've been following that are in the marketing field that are starting new pages from scratch and just going live and are seeing an increase in engagement after about 2.5 weeks of being consistent. So if you're one of those people that are like, I have this page, but I'm so frustrated, this is something that you'll definitely want to do. And that is it for this episode. So thank you, Kenyatta. Thank you, Tilita, for being with me on this podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed your input and talking, and I know that so many people will get so much from you guys. Coming up with your brand is not easy, but I think it's the wave. Like before, we were all, coming from starting our own businesses or working with our family business or, working on land and things like that. And now we're coming from, everybody has a business, everybody has a job, a corporate job, everybody has their education, and now we're out here kind of doing full circle, but with the twist. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited. And I will be following you guys, your story, your journey, and everything. And again, thank you for being on the vlog. And for everybody else, I will see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Danielle.
Yay, thank you.
All right, my above average crew, you can reach me on my websites at averageblackgirl.com and my blog and lifestyle website at danielleamitchell.com. You can reach me on Facebook and Instagram at Average Black Girl and on Twitter at ABG Girl. And you can reach me on Pinterest at A Black Girl 2015. I will talk to you soon. Bye.